Alright, what's going on, everybody? Today I wanted to go over my saddle setup for 2023, how it's going to look, how it's going to be used, and just some of the customizations I've done to my saddle to make it a little more comfortable and usable for me. Primarily I wanted to make this video for anyone that's interested in saddle hunting, anyone that's looking to get into one but doesn't want to blow like $600+ on a top tier saddle. This one here that I picked up 2 seasons ago, this is a Hawk Helium, and it is, I want to say it was around $300, something like that. So it's still a little steep, but it's going to run you a little bit cheaper than some of your hang-on or ladder stands. And it's a really great option for me in the way I like to hunt, especially on public land. So like I said, this is a Hawk Helium, and this is the main body of the saddle here. This is the seat area, and it comes with a little pad thing. It's a little bit more comfortable and soft when you're setting up in the stand, but for me it likes to twist, and sometimes these snaps that hold it in place come undone, and it's just more of a hassle than I feel like dealing with. It was actually really nice. I used it for a while when I first got the saddle. I think the whole first season I used it, and then I popped it out because I think in the winter rifle season I used it, and with all the layers I had on pants wise, it wasn't fitting comfortably, so I pulled it out and I've just been running it without it ever since. It comes with this big old dump pouch, and in here I have everything I need to climb a tree. So in this pocket here I keep my bow line, and in this pocket I have my belay device, which I use as a descender. So the main technique I use to get in and out of trees is called one sticking, and basically it's pretty self-explanatory. You have one stick, you climb the tree with that one stick, get to the top of that stick, tie yourself off, move the stick up, and repeat until you're at your desired hunting height. Right, if you notice a slight change in angle, my battery died. But I've done a few modifications to this saddle. I actually have, for instance, an adjustable bridge. It's a little locked up at the moment because it's been sitting still for a year. But this bridge is made by Cruiser, and this carabiner here actually came with my belay device. So I want to clip that for a second. It just has a little safety twist lock so the carabiner doesn't come undone, and I use this as my attachment to the main line. My belay device itself, I didn't really go over it. This is a Mammut Smart 2.0. I think that's how you say it, is Mammut. But I'll go through this and show you exactly how it works. Essentially, this is a manual belay device. A lot of people will use Madrock devices that are sort of automatic. You just kind of pull it, and there's a lever on it that you can release to descend. But you would pull it to get the slack out of it and ascend the tree, and then to come back down, you pull the handle and it feeds line out. This one is essentially the manual version of that, and you'll see that a lot better when I'm actually out tied to the tree. But like I said, the adjustable bridge by Cruiser is pretty much just held in place by Prusik, and it really likes to seize up if it sits for too long. There we go. So you can extend the length of your bridge and hang pretty comfortably. The more you extend it, the less it pinches on your hips, and then the more you tighten it up, the less play you have. So I like to have a short bridge when I'm climbing, and then I have everything locked in, kind of stays out of the way. Then when I get up to hunting height and I'm ready to kind of settle in, I'll extend that bridge and just make it a little bit more comfortable. I still have the original bridge on this saddle, but it's starting to get a little bit of fray action on it. So now I just kind of keep it as a secondary. A lot of times I'll actually put it behind me, and then when I'm in my ladder stand or a climber or a lock-on stand, something like that, I'll have it behind me. I'll sort of tether my rope to the tree behind me and kind of use it as a harness instead of wearing the full chest rig. The last rope I have attached is my lineman's belt, which I usually keep daisy chained behind me out of the way unless I'm climbing the tree. The only time I use this is when I'm climbing as a secondary device. As I'm walking up the stick, I'll be scooching the lineman's rope up from the back side of the tree just to keep me attached. Then when I get to the top, I'll tie off on my main line and unclip that lineman's rope, move my stick, reattach the lineman's rope, move the tether, and then continue to climb the tree. These carabiners are all the original Hawk carabiners. The rope I have is upgraded. The saddle itself comes with two 6-foot ropes. It has this one and then a main tether line. The reason I upgraded the rope is because I want to, while I'm one sticking, I want to rappel out of the tree instead of basically taking my tether line off and then just climbing down steps or anything like that. I will just rappel out of the tree. So I needed a longer rope. This is a 30-foot rope. I don't remember what brand. I got it on Amazon. It was relatively cheap, but it holds together pretty well. I mean, I've been using this for 3 seasons. There's a little bit of wear on it, but nothing that strikes me as relatively unsafe. I have a Delta clip, just a locking thread clip to hold the tether. When I wrap it around the tree, I'll just tether it to itself, and that'll hold me in the tree. So I think that's all of the basic parts of the saddle. So with that, I'm going to throw it on and I'll show you the fit. All right, I promise you this looks a lot more complicated than it is. So all I do is separate my bridge from the rest of my ropes, run my feet through the leg holes here, pull it on just like a pair of shorts. And the saddle just has a little waistband here. Gotta make sure it's not twisted. And it only clips one way. So you'll know if it's twisted or something because this latch won't lock in. So you just put it on, tighten up your leg straps a little bit. Not too much, you want to be a little bit discreet. Snug up my bridge just to keep it out of the way. And this is how I hunt. I just wear my regular gear and I'll throw my saddle on. I'll walk into my spot. It's no extra weight. It's slim. It's not knocking off everything. A little bit. Sometimes you'll have a little bit of carabiner rattle. But honestly, that can be taken care of pretty easily. So with that out of the way, let's get it on the tree. And I'll show you how I climb. All right, so when you're picking a tree to climb with the saddle, you want to find one that's not too terribly thick. I've just had this one set up for archery practice. I'll climb to the top of my ladder, set my stick on the top. But this would generally tend to be a tree that I avoid. It's just too big around to easily climb. I like one that I can reach my arms around when I'm mounting the stick. So this here, try to get the entire thing in frame here. That is my climbing stick. It is a River's Edge 3-step all metal climbing stick. It's not necessarily ideal It's kind of heavy, it's kind of big, but usually I'll just strap it right onto my backpack and it packs in pretty nice and easy. I went and wrapped it in hockey stick tape. I just found some camo hockey stick tape, and that seems to keep it a little less, keeps it from shining as much. And I also wrapped the clip here in hockey tape, and that just keeps it from clanging around as much. So we'll get this unhooked. Come up to your tree. Mount it right on. Generally you want to find a straighter tree, but this is the best tree I could find easily available in my yard. We'll just run that around there. Throw your loop over the horn. Tighten it down. Cinch it as best as possible. That wasn't even close. There we go, that's a little better. Just make sure it's cinched down. And then I'll reach behind me, unclip my lineman's belt. Nice thing about the daisy chain here, just run the carabiner through the first loop, and this all just pulls right out. Run the lineman's belt around the tree. I'm probably going to get a little winded during this because I'm out of shape. Don't worry about it. Happens to the best of us and also the rest of us. So now that's clipped on. Lineman's belt's clipped on. It's holding all my weight. I can begin to climb. Typically, I'll go up to my second step. Move my lineman's belt up. Lean back. That's holding my weight. Stick's holding my feet. Then I'll break out the big rope. Try and get this angled where you can see it. Run my main tether around the tree. One of these directions unscrews, I'm told. Hello? There it is. And you want to always make sure you're threading this delta hook all the way on, or you run the risk of bending it, then you have to replace it. So we'll just tighten that back up. Okay, this point with my main tether attached to the tree, take out my belay device. Oops. Get yourself a little bite of rope, run it in, just like so. And you would take your carabiner that's on your bridge. Whoops. This one I might have to angle you down a little bit for. Take your bite, stuff it in there. Take your carabiner, clip it over the rope, tighten it up, clip that on. Make sure your tree tether's tight to the tree. Just pull up on it, give it some tension, and you can see that this is now tight and holding me. So, with that tight, all you really got to do, throw your legs around the tree here, reach down, pull up on your stick, You may have to loosen it a little bit, just to get that tether, or just to get the strap off the horn. Lean back against the tree. Try not to get tangled in your lineman's rope. Run your strap back around the tree. Make sure it ain't slipping. And repeat. Okay. And what's nice is that now that you have your tether on the tree, you can just loosen it up a little bit and let it slide. Take out some of that slack, and just like that, we're on the tree. So now I have a couple little sticks here that I'd have to go around if I was wanting to go any higher. But you can see, even with just one move, I'm already, oh, I'd say probably 15 feet up. And that's quite honestly plenty for getting above some of the cover. This would be a decent hunting height for me. So typically if I run into a natural barrier like a limb or something like that, I'll kind of go as needed. Give it a little look around, so you know what, right here is good enough to hunt. But if I decide that I want to go past this limb, I would just repeat the same process as before. The only difference being I would have to unclip my lineman's belt, put it up above the limb, move it up here above the limb before I try to make another move. Okay, so now I've made it up to hunting height. I'm still held on by 2 ropes. So what I'm going to do is put a little bit of slack out on my main tether. I'll adjust my bridge to where I want to sit, to where it's comfortable for an all-day sit. Boy, this thing really likes to seize up when you put tension on it, which I suppose is good. Loosen up the prusik a little bit. Come on now. There we go. All right. Now we have a little more slack in our bridge. We can snug up our tether a little bit more and undo our lineman's belt. Okay, so now all the weight is on our belay device. We are fully on the tether. We just come over here, unclip our lineman belt, and we'll redo the daisy chain. So to do that, I just slide my prusik with the carabiner all the way to the end. I'll come down here, just make a loop around your hand, pull the line through that loop, pull the line through that loop, and that loop, and that loop, and just keep right on going until you run out of line. And there is your daisy chain. So when you run out of line, I'll just take my carabiner, run it through the last loop so it doesn't come undone, run it behind me so it's out of my way, clip it back onto that loop, And now I'm ready to hunt. Generally, before I do anything, we'll talk about, fail safes. Because as of right now, this is the only thing that's keeping me attached to this tree. And for some people, that's good enough. But for me, I like to have every precaution I can. So I have another little loop of rope here, and I'll just tie a prusik knot. So you would just go around, take your loop, and you go around your tether line 2-3 times, run it back through that loop there, snug it up a little bit, and there you have a prusik knot. So what this does is it allows you to slide up and down the tree, but if you put weight on it, that grips the rope and doesn't allow it to slide. If you put light pressure, you can move it very easily. And I have a spare carabiner down here that I will just clip into the knot on that prusik, snug it up a little bit, and now I have a fail-safe if this device slips and I'm still locked into the main tether. So now what I'll do, since I have 30 feet of rope dangling down below me, as I climb the tree, I'll just wrap it back up, figure eights around my forearm, wrap it up in figure eights just like so, take it, bend it around that figure eight, squish it a little bit, and stuff it back down into my dump pouch on my side. It just fits right down into that dump pouch at my side. That way I don't have any ropes or anything dangling underneath me to alert deer. So at this point, I'm typically wearing my backpack, which has a gear strap in it. I'll just run it around somewhere in here. It has 4 hooks on it. So I'll take the strap out, put it on the tree, and I'll hang my backpack off that strap. Typically while I'm climbing, I will have my bow hook clipped onto the main carabiner here. So I would just pull up my bow, hang it on the side of the hook, right off to the left where I'm ready to grab it and swing. And then it's time to hunt. I'll take my quiver off my bow, put it in the backpack, hang my bow off to the side, nock an arrow, and I'm ready to hunt. And this is a really nice and comfortable way to hunt. I don't have anything in my way. I have full 360-degree shooting opportunities. I can twist in the saddle and shoot behind me. Takes absolutely no effort. I can swing from it. Whee! I can hang from it. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll just let some line out, put my knees against the tree, and just hang like this. This is a really comfortable way to just spend all day. Typically I'm standing on this top step here. I don't have a platform because I just can't justify spending, you know, $200 on a platform when I have a pretty wide step up here. This is, I mean, I've hunted 3 seasons now, just standing on a step all day, and it really doesn't bother me that much. Maybe someday I'll upgrade to a platform, but that'll probably be a later adventure. I'll wind up buying sticks, more sticks before I do that. So, say we come to the end of the day, we've either made a shot or it's dark and I need to get home. I'll simply come up here, grab a hold of my belay device. Well, first off, I'll gather all my gear. throw it on my backpack, lower my bow to the ground, throw my backpack on. Then I can take my Prusik here, slide it down, give it a little more slack, grab my belay device, and this, you just tilt your hand up and it starts letting the line out. So I'll keep my right hand on my Prusik, letting the line out slowly. This is about when I remember that I need to drop my line out of the tree. So I'll pull it out of my dump pouch, just drop it to the ground. No worries, no problems. That stays out of the way. Keep my hand on the Prusik to slide. Keep feet and slack in. Other hand on my belay device and just lower. And just walk right down the tree. Now, once I get to my stick, I can just take it, push in the clip on the side, loosen it up, undo the strap. Typically I'll wrap it around here, tie it off. Remember that spare carabiner that I have? I'll just clip it right to that. So that stays on my hip out of the way. And we can proceed sliding right down the tree. And you get to the ground, let a little excess line out, and I realized what I forgot to do. So I'm about to reclimb this tree and redo that descent. Take my bow line, and after I pull my bow up, it's really hard to go through this process without actually having everything here. I should have just brought my bow and everything out, but I was being lazy. But after I bring my bow up, I'll take the clip and I'll fix it to the tree tether, just like so. Okay, so now it's the end of the hunt. Been a long, hard day. I've got my bow line clipped on there, bow's on the ground, backpack's on my back, everything's back in it. Got my line, main tether thrown all the way to the ground. All I gotta do, reach up here, grab hold of this device, my belay device, and just rock upward, and that feeds line out. Now, typically when you stop it, it cinches back up, but there is a little bit of slip in this device. So I'll just lower myself down to my stick, unclip your stick from the tree, and you can either just drop it or you can clip it onto yourself and lower it. Since I'm about 2 feet off the ground, I'll just toss it behind me. And then we just drop it down the rest of the way. Just like that. You're back safely on the ground. Now you just walk forward a little bit, give yourself some slack. Undo your device. Stick that back in the dump pouch side area. Tighten the bridge back up. Put the carabiner, well, you can just leave the carabiner off. Then you grab your bow line. Grab your bow line here, walk back from the tree a bit, and just give it a pull. And it all comes right out. Nice and easy every single time. It never gets tangled in branches or anything like that. It's just that simple. I promise. I'm also a terrible liar. So we'll just undo our bow line here. I like to usually just take it in my hand, rock on, figure eights. And that keeps it from getting too tangled when it's in my pouch. Slide that off your fingers. Wrap this around a couple times. Generally, I'll wrap it the other side. I'll wrap the clip end the other way. If I can do this right. There we go. Then when they come together, I can simply clip one to the other, and that keeps it from coming undone. So that'll go back into the backside pouch of my dump bag. Just like so. Grab the tether, pull it the rest of the way out of the tree. Okay, so then to wrap my main tether line, I will take the non-clip end, grab a hold of it, and just run figure eights around my forearm. And I'll leave probably about a foot of tether going to the clip, and I'll just wrap it around. Fold it in half, and this goes right back into the dump pouch. Nice and easy. It loves to cooperate. It knows where it lives, and it wants to be back there. Nice and easy. Stuffs back down into the pouch. There we go. Tighten the drawstring, and I'm ready to walk out of the woods. So, that is my hunting setup out of a tree saddle. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you click the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you in the next one.